In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, alchemists. This is Wealth Principle 47. We've been traveling through the Wealth Principles for 47 months. Now, Wealth Principle 47 is hyper-focus. Hyper-focus, the law of hyper-focus. The reason we're talking about this is because we're here to double our income, double our net worth. Hence, if you're still committed to the cause. Doubling your income and doubling your net worth. We're still excited about it? All right, cool. Excellent. So it's been an entire year. In fact, we're recording this right now on December 31st at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means we've only got a few hours left. We've got less than a day of 2022. We were just celebrating some of our wins. And I'm noticing the people who won the most were hyper-focused on one specific thing. And I'll talk about that towards the end of the call. But hyper-focus itself only works if you've simplified your life. If you right now have a whole bunch of clutter and things that are like taking you down that you're busy doing every single day, then it's going to be really hard for you to hyper focus on one thing. If there's other distractions, if there's things that are taking you away from having time to work on your one thing, then it's going to be basically impossible to focus on a really important thing. Who here is already noticing a lot of distractions in their lives, whether it's business, clients, family, friends, the market doing what the market does, which is not always what we want it to do. In fact, one of my very close friends owns a lot of Tesla, if you know what I'm talking about. And Tesla did this like all the way down thing. So if he was watching it, like most people watch sports, he'd get depressed when it's down, excited when it's up. But what he did is instead, he put himself into a really good position. And he's been buying more Tesla on the way down. Hence, if you know, doing the right things, simplifying your investment. He simplified his investments a little while back, so that he had more of a cash position to go into deep things when the opportunities are there. So hyper focus. I'm going to tell a story this final story of the year, because I think that we remember stories better than we remember facts. Who's heard this before? Facts tell, stories sell. Who's heard this? All right. So this story is going to be you're going to learn a lot on this one. And you've heard it before. I told a story last year when I did hyperfocus. So for everybody who's new to this, Wealth Principle 47 is the law of hyperfocus. It's also known as the law of singular thought, or the law of maniacal thinking, which is where you just do one thing. You have one purpose in your life, one thing you do every week. If you've read the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller, then you're familiar with this idea. Now, what you might not be familiar with are my fictional characters. So every great story has to have characters. Who here is a character in their story? You're the hero, I hope, right? The captain of your ship. All right. So if you don't think you're the hero of your story, you might want to change books, change the story. So first character is Pete. Now, Pete is... we'll call him a average gentleman. In fact, all three pairs in the story are going to be average. These men and women, no women involved. Sorry, ladies. Hands to camera if you're a lady. I apologize. I cut all the women out of the story because the average follower I have, 82% of my followers are men. So I went and I demographicked in. So character number 2, Bob. Bob, the freaking builder, right? I literally stole Bob the builder because he makes the perfect character. Then this is Max. Because he reminds me of Doug McGurk. Max is, high energy, loves great things. Here's the thing. All three of these friends went to college together, and they got normal jobs together. They got great wives separate. They didn't share the wives, and now they all have kids. Hence, Karen, if you can relate to any one of those scenarios where you've had a family, work, and kids. All right, so they get together, and they decide they're going to get into real estate. They're all sitting at a table. They decide they're going to get into real estate, but they all kind of going in these like different directions. So what happens is Bob was on the internet and he saw this guru come up, and this guru was talking about wholesaling. He types in what's wholesaling. So Bob's researching real estate, maybe goes to Chat GPT, and real estate comes up to all these different options. And Bob chooses the option. You don't have to do it with any risk, and there's no money involved, and you're able to make fast cash. Hence, if you've heard of wholesaling real estate before, you're familiar with that? Awesome. Excellent. All right. So he says, I'm going to go all in on that mentorship. And Bob says, I was searching the internet and I found this guru who's like, investment flipping. So you flip real estate like HGTV, buy the house, mess it all up, and like 3 hours later, the house is perfect and you sell it for a massive profit. Hence, Karen, if you've seen HGTV and that's kind of the vibe they get, 30 minutes later, like $100,000. All right. So He decides to go all in on flipping. He hires the guru. He signs up for the courses. He goes through all the training, and he starts doing flipping. And this is Max. So Max, he sees this guy, Walter, the real estate mentor, and he's doing this thing, buy, hold real estate, and he pays him some large sum of money to go through his course. Now, the challenge with real estate is there's a lot of different options to get into it. Who's noticed this already? No, there's lots of different options, lots of different avenues. Could you not see my screen as I was sharing all those? No? All right. Did I see it? See the screen now?
You're up.
Share. Got it. Okay. All right. So here's the deal. These three men, by all accounts, except for the shape of their bodies, are about the same. They've all decided on a guru. They decided real estate, then they decided a niche, and then they decided on the guru to fit the niche. Hence, if you recognize they're following the right steps. They identified what they wanted to do. They found the person who knows how to do it. So they go down this path. And now a year goes by and they get back together and they review each other's strategies. And they all agree to go back and do their own strategy. Now, each one of them, who here's been with somebody who's tried to convince them to do their own thing? Has anybody sat with a wholesaler who's like, you got to wholesale, right? Or sat with a flipper and they're like, you got to flip. Or sat with a buy and hold guy who's just laughing at everybody, like, oh, all I do is landlording. And so if you know these people, right? The gurus are out there, the students are out there, the people who are actively doing it. Everybody believes in the thing that they're doing. But these three friends decide to just love each other for who they are. They go back a year, another year comes by, another year comes by. Finally, year 4, they sit down at the table and they put their income statements and their net worth tracking statements. First friend, Pete, he's done 5 flips in year 1, 5 contracts, wholesaling contracts year 1. Then he did 10 the next year. Then he did 20 the next year. And then he did 40 the next year. Who here knows doing 40 wholesale deals is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's definitely a lot. And then number 2, that was Bob the builder. Bob does 1 flip in year 1. He does 2 flips in year 2. He does 4 flips in year 3. He does 8 flips in year 4. And we know flips average about $50,000 per flip. Wholesale deals about $5,000 flip. Hence, if you agree with those numbers, that's about accurate. So by year 4, we've got Pete is earning about $200,000 a year. We've got Bob is earning about $400,000 a year. By the way, these are year 4. These are not beginning year numbers, right? Year 1 sucked for everybody. Bob made, let's see now. Pete made $25,000 in year 1. Bob made $50,000 in year 1. Hence, if that makes sense. Sounds about right. You did 1 flip or did 5 wholesale deals. Now, Pete, obviously, Max, Maximizer, the real estate guy, the landlord. So he has bought a 3-family on year 1. Who here knows that's probably the easiest place to start? If you don't have a bunch of capital, you can do owner-occupied 3-family. Start off with a small multifamily. So he starts with a small multifamily. Year 2, he buys a 6. Year 3, he buys a 12. Year 4, he buys a 24 unit. Hence, if you understand, that's pretty reasonable. He's just buying 1 deal per year, 1 rental property per year. Maybe he's doing the BRRRR method. Maybe he's pulling money out of other properties. Maybe he's buying things seller financing subject to. Who would like to go take a look at the numbers? Interested in seeing the actual spreadsheets? All right. So this is why today the talk took a little bit longer for me to get started. I had to go do the research. And the research is this. Pete makes about $250,000 a year, but I started tracking his net worth also. I went back and I said, okay, his income's up there. He's busting his ass. Who here knows wholesaling is a job? It's a job. You got a lot of systems, you got a lot of people involved. It's like a big organization to make only $200,000. But he's crushing it and he's slaying. He followed everything the guru said for 4 years. He's totally dedicated himself. He's just absolutely slaying it. But his net worth is under $50,000. Now, I started everybody with the same net worth of $5,000. I want to be very clear. I gave them all a fresh start. $5,000 is how they started. And then I set Pete to double his net worth every year because that's about what he can afford with this $200,000 lifestyle he's living. A lot of that money is going out too because, it's expensive to run the team for wholesaling. Then we got Bob the builder. Now, Bob, he's, flip year 1, 50,000, year 2, he made 100,000, year 3, 200,000, year 4, 400,000, but he's also busting his butt, crushing it in renovations. He's got to go pick up the contractors' materials. He's got to get the next deal. He's doing a lot of off-market stuff, talking to agents, all the crazy things that we have to do as flippers. Plus, he's dealing with contractors on top of it. Everything he does with a wholesaler, plus he's doing a lot of contracting. Now, one of the cool things is that him and his boy, Pete, sometimes do deals together, right? Bob sometimes buys deals from Pete, so that's good money, right? Hence, Karen, if you know, that's like really helping each other out, like keep it in the family. But his net worth has not gone up dramatically because every time he gets his money, he has to roll it back in to do the next flips. Who here's seen that in real estate? You buy the building, you get the money, and then you got to put it back down to buy the next building, next building, next building. Even hard money requires 20% down. So his net worth hasn't really skyrocketed, but his income has gotten up to $400,000 a year. But again, he runs a big company and it's a lot of work. Now, Max is cool. He's chill, right? Kind of like my boy Doug McGurk. Love Max. So he's year one, not earning a lot, and his net worth has gone up to about 30,000. See that gray bar is about 30,000. His net worth, because on year one, that 3-family he purchased at a 10% discount. Now he didn't take the money because it stayed in the property. It's something called equity. Who here is familiar with equity? We understand how net worth works. Now, income-wise, now his boy, Pete, on year one is making 25,000. Max, he only makes about $200 a unit. So he made like $3,000 that year. Who here knows he made about $7,000 in year one? Who knows that's not a lot of money to brag about when your boys are making 25 and 50,000. Year two, similar situation, only makes about $14,000, $15,000 passive income, right? That orange is his passive income. So it's not a lot. Even year three, it's still only about 24,000. Year four, it's only about 50,000. It's like $50,000, $60,000 in passive income that he's earning. But if you look at the chart, his net worth is over $600,000 at a 5% annual appreciation. That's all I put in was 5% annual appreciation and a very small debt pay down. Ask Karen if you understand the difference between where these three friends ended up over that 4-year time period. If you don't today decide to hyper focus on the right thing, you will 4 years wake up with a very different lifestyle. Who sees the difference between those three friends? Highly motivated, highly dedicated, talented individuals, hyper focused, right? Hyper focused, hardworking, grinding. But the results are completely different based on the 3 strategies they used. We're catching this? I don't care how hard you work. If your plan is wrong, you're going to end up in the wrong place, right? The better your plan is, the better thinking, the more thought you've put into where you want to go, the more intentionally, the more powerful your hyper focus can be. Here knows they want to go somewhere they're going to be happy with 4 years from now, 5 years from now, right? It takes 3 to 5 years to build a millionaire. Although some of my coaches will tell you it takes 2 to 3 years to build to become a millionaire. I'm with that. We're on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. Hands scan if you're still involved, you're still ready to do it, you're down. Yes, let's get it. How do we build millionaires? I get the question often. We build millionaires through helping people buy real estate. Am I a real estate agent? Yes, but I will not ever walk you through a property. If I am walking you through a property, I've messed something up. Something has gone terribly wrong in my life. So if you see me walking through a property and acting as a transactional agent, I've made a mistake. But we do it through teaching realtors how to work with investors. Who here knows a realtor in Alchemist Nation? Know anybody? Yeah. That's the person you should work with, right? If they're a realtor in Alchemist Nation, I like them more than I like any other realtor, because at least that realtor is focused on doing things morally, ethically, legally. They understand how to evaluate properties. They understand how to find off-market deals, and they understand your goals as an investor because they're also an investor. Who here agrees? I'd rather work with a realtor from somebody with an Alchemist Nation. I don't care what brokerage they're at. I don't care. The broker doesn't matter. All that matters is that the agent has the abundance mindset. The agent's going to outwork for you. The agent's going to go out and do whatever it takes to help you become a millionaire because they're also committed to build 100 millionaires. That's what I've been teaching lately, is work with investors. In my class, Work with Investors, I teach how to build millionaires. That's my only focus. This year, we're building our 100 millionaires. And after this, I'm teaching 100 realtors how to build 100 millionaires. Hence, Cam, if you're willing to go tell a realtor to get their ass in this course and make it happen, hell yeah. If you know any realtor, send them. Send them to workwithinvestors.com, because I'm tired of the industry being just ridiculous. And that's my hyper focus for the next couple of years, is clean up the industry. So how do you do it? What are some of the benefits? Before we dive into how, what are some of the benefits? There's four benefits to hyper focus. The first is increased productivity. When you know what you want, it's easier to say no to things, and it's easier to get really good at one thing. Like Mike Shine, he's an attorney, and we call him the holistic attorney, right? He's the closer. He's also the keeper of the book. So at the end, we'll make sure we get a book from him. The strategy for a great attorney is not to do all of the documents. A strategy for a great attorney is to hire a great paralegal and team to do the documents, and then to be out networking and having connections with human beings. Because he hyper focuses on the relationships, he hyper focuses on partnerships, he's able to have a much better impact than the average attorney in this business. Most attorneys just sit there behind their desk wondering where the next client's going to come from. Mike goes out and wonders what the next deal that the client is doing. He already assumes the client because he's out there hunting and looking for them. Does that make sense? He's hyper focused on serving and hyper focused on building millionaires, which means they have to have deals. It means they have to be real estate investors, have to be working with realtors who are working with investors. Number two, benefit, improved quality. When you hyper focus on doing your one business, your clients will notice it, because you're going to have more knowledge, more experience. So if you're doing flips in Fall River, Massachusetts, you pick a market, hyper focusing in that market means you're going to do a much better job with each one of those projects. If you're doing rental properties in the same city, you're going to find that your rental properties start getting better and better, because you know the tile to put down, you know the flooring to put down, you know the paint to put in, you know what electrician is going to give you the best deal, what electrician is going to get the job done right. That's if you understand, your properties improve over time because you start getting systems, right? Quality gets much better. Number three benefit, greater efficiency. Oh my God. Ron and I save so much money because we buy in bulk. I know what I'm going to paint the next unit. The same thing, I always paint all of my units. I know I'm going to put flooring in the next. We have in our basement, one of our basements has all of our materials that we could ever use. It's always the same stuff, same flooring, same tile, same paint. And so when you go over there, you just grab the inventory and you run it. And guess where we put it? Our biggest building. It's if that makes sense. It's efficiency, right? It allows our guys to go to one place, do one thing. And the price was better because we bought at a large amount. We used our Home Depot discount that we get from the National Real Estate Investors Association, and we bought in bulk. Number four benefit, enhanced innovation. Because we're so obsessed with what we do, we start learning little things that can make it a little bit more. Right? Who here's known us in Alchemist Nation? Our classes are free. We got over 65 courses for free on Alchemist Nation. Anybody notice that? Over 65 courses free. Most of the people out there teaching how to buy real estate, they're like, well, okay, you got to pay $1,000 for my online course. We're like, yeah, because we're focused, we're hyper focused on building millionaires. We're able to go out to successful millionaires and get them to donate courses. And the innovation is now you're able to message. Who's sent somebody a message on Alchemist Nation before? Sent a private message to somebody? Does anybody ever message me? Yeah, it works. That's an innovation. That wasn't a feature that was available for. But because we're hyper focused on serving one target audience, millionaires, people who want to become millionaires, that one group, we're able to start adding what we knew they needed was communication with each other. So you could partner up. So you could talk to each other, you could do deals together. Those elements only come from hyper focus. Who here knows they're going to focus on one thing this year in their business? Who here knows that's the key to success? The absolute key to success. Elon Musk is really good at one thing. Elon's good at one thing, whatever business he's in at that moment. In the beginning, the first business was Zip2. He did Zip2 4 years before he sold. He did not start another business while he was in the middle of Zip2. Hence, can't commit to stick to one business. One business, 4 years. Give me 4 years, right? One business. That's all it takes. Then he sold Zip2. He started X.com, which then became PayPal. Guess what? Stayed in it for 4 years. And then he sold that business for over $1 billion. Stayed in it for 4 years, sold the business for over $1 billion. Then, by the way, hands down, if you commit to stick to one business, one thing, 4 years, whatever it takes. Then he bought, so important to know. He did not build Tesla. He bought Tesla. He became a majority investor in Tesla. we're catching this. Somebody else built Tesla. He became a passive investor in Tesla. If you did not know that, go back and do the research or look it up, because he's not the creator. He's a passive investor, always has been. And he acquired up to 20% of the company. So he became the CEO because he chose, the board decided that he would make a great CEO, because at that time he'd learned from 4 years in one business, 4 years in the next business. 4 years into Tesla, the company was extremely valuable. 17 years into Tesla, he's the richest man on the planet. Tesla for 17 years. Hands can if you're catching this. He's an investor. And that's what really leveled him up. But he had to invest in each business one at a time. So again, do you commit? Hands can if you commit to be absolutely dedicated to one business for 4 years. Hands can if you know what business that is. You got it already in your head. You already know which one. Excellent. Excellent. I'll hold you to it. All right. It's like one of my coaches just say, we'll see. All right. So here are the 5 steps to becoming hyper-focused. 5 steps that you can apply today to become hyper-focused in your business. Step number 1, set clear goals. And if you want to set clear goals, Vinny Chopra just gave us a full goal setting worksheet. It's 5 pages, but it's super deep. It goes deep. This is goal setting worksheet from a billionaire. Who knows they know how to set goals better than you do. Financial goals anyway, right? And also health goals, because he's healthy, does miracle morning every morning. He's been married to his wife over 20, 30, 40 years. And Karen, if you know, that's a pretty good run. He's good at setting goals and crushing them. All right, so the goal setting worksheet, you can go to Alchemist Nation, and it's one of the top posts, or you can go to Vinny's free course, which is multifamily syndication made easy. So go and check out that goal sheet. I put it in the feed. So that's a free download for you. So you can download, or you can work with the PDF. Set clear goals. I'm not going to tell you again, right? Well, I'm going to tell you 1,000 times. Who here's read it in every book you've ever read? The first thing they start off with goals. Yeah. I'm going to say goals 1,000 times. I'm just not going to say it again today. Step 2, prioritize tasks. Prioritize the most important task. And the most important task is not always the loud task. It's not the one everybody's complaining about. The most important task is the one you never have to do again. The most important task is the asset built. Once it's built, it sits there and operates for you beyond your energy. Who here's been on alchemistnation.com during the day? Anybody been on alchemistnation.com during the day? Who's been on alchemistnation.com during the night? Who, check this one out, has been at alchemistnation.com during a weird hour where nobody should be on it except for you? You knew you were the only one who would ever be on. I was not on, because we built an asset. We built something that you can leverage anytime you want without taking any time from me. Who has gained value from something you gained from Alchemist Nation that didn't have to do with me directly, didn't take my time directly. Excellent. Give yourselves a round of applause. I love you. Thank you so much. My time is so valuable, and I appreciate your time. So you can on demand go and check things out. That's an asset. That took a long time to build, and it took a lot of money, a financial investment in the employees and the developers and the people that we brought in to put everything the way it does. And it building the relationships with the other influencers, the other coaches, the speakers who are putting their courses out there. All assets. I prioritize those assets over the one-on-one call with somebody who is brand new, who I've never met before. Hence, Karen, if you know, that makes a lot of sense. People who are already committed to building for you, like employees to me, or partners to me, or even contractors to me, are more important than my clients. I will always prioritize the people who are building assets before I prioritize my client, because their priority is the client. The client is not my priority. That is their priority. Does that make sense? If you still think the client is your priority, you're still in the business. You've got to pull yourself out of the business and make your team your priority. This making sense. This is something we talked about at the summit on day the VIP day. If you're not there yet, it's okay. We'll get you there. Step 3, eliminate distractions. We did this last week in Wealth Principle 46, which is simplify your business. You must eliminate all distractions. Distractions come up in so many forms. 1, TikTok. 2, everything else on your cell phone, except for calling the person who you're supposed to be calling right now. Except for creating the content, creating the text, creating the email, giving the high five, making the handshake, showing up to the event, booking the appointment, scheduling the call. And Scan, if you understand, If it's not one of those things, it is a distraction. But I 100% guarantee you. If it involves a screen and there's not another human being actually in conversation with you on that screen, that is a distraction. If we also, I got to say this because we also will say, oh, I was learning, I was educating myself. Who here's read books and said that was business related? Anybody done that? It's not true. Reading books does not make you money. Reading books does not change your life. Implementing books makes you money. Implementing books changes your life. We were taking a course and be like, oh, it's a business. It is a business expense, but I'm working. I'm at this course. I'm at this event. I'm working. We've all felt that. We've all thought that. No, what you're doing is preparing to work. You're getting ready to work. You're getting your mindset right to go and do the work. But the real work is the conversations you're having with each person. Now, what brings the work, makes it work, is obviously your mindset. So super important. Step 4, practice mindfulness, which is why we read the books, which is why we go to the courses, which is why we spend time in meditation. That practice allows you to make clear decisions, good decisions that are long-term. Who here's felt sometimes maybe they've made a decision that was like, not the best decision? Has anybody ever like been a little stretched from both sides, stressed out, and the decision that came out of it was just we'll call it was a half-assed decision? And then who's had to deal with the repercussions of a shit decision? Has anybody had to put up with like, I made a mistake and now I got to stick with the things I said I was going to do? I hate that. It's the worst. So mindfulness protects you from your worst enemy, which is a tired version of you, right? Like, let's be real. There's 2 versions of you that you just don't want to do business with. One is drunk. The other one is exhausted, right? Like and they're both about the same. They're kind of, they're whatever kind of personalities. But there's one personality with you that you never, ever, ever make a mistake. And that is when you're absolutely certain of yourself. When you're in a state of joy, bliss, love, or confidence, you always make the right decision. Who's noticed that? You make decisions that were clear when you were in a state that you felt empowered, when you felt strong about who you were and where you were going. Has anybody noticed that? Yeah, okay. I realize not everybody feels like empowered at all times. Who would like to feel empowered more often? All right. The easiest way to feel empowered is to sit down for 5 minutes, stand if you want to, walk if you want to, but spend some time with yourself, just recognizing that you are the one. There is no other one waking up inside of you tomorrow. You are the one. You're the one whose story has existed the last 20 years, 40 years, 50 years, 70 years, 80 years that you've been on this planet. You're the one. And it's okay to be right where you're at. It's okay to be where you're going. It's okay to have been where you have been. But today there are decisions to be made. And whatever decision you're going to make is going to be the right one because you're the one who decides. Hence the camera, if you agree, you are the captain of your ship. There's no one else. It's just you. Find peace in that. However you go, it's going to work out because you set a very intentional goal. Set a very intentional goal. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Number 5, step 5, if you're being hyper-focused, is you must take breaks. If you don't take breaks along the way, you're going to burn yourself out. Who's heard like these guys on Facebook? You got to grind, you got to work, you got to hustle, you got to go and do all this stuff. Who's heard these guys, right? On Instagram, on TikTok, right? You see the other bald guy out there that who just got arrested. So these guys believe in the hustle and the grind because they know you're going to eat it up. They know like that's what you want to hear. You want to hear grind, hard work, because that's what you grew up with. Who grew up with a parent saying if you want to make something in life, you got to grind, you got to work hard, you got to hustle, right? You got to show up. Yeah. They don't talk enough about breaks, right? Even when you're working out, when we're weightlifting, we take a minute break. If our heart is pounding too much, we're sweating too much, we're not getting the full workout that we're supposed to be getting for bodybuilding, for muscle building. Right now, obviously cardio, just burn whatever. When you're an Olympian, they put you to rest. They calm you, they sit you down, they make you eat. You have to stop, you have to rest. Otherwise, the muscle fatigue gets burnt out. Like the muscle will just get destroyed. It needs time to repair itself. It's the same with your mind. If you're out there every day, like I take naps religiously, almost every day, just because it makes my decision-making better. Not 15 minutes, 20 minutes, sometimes an hour, 2 hours. I don't care how long I sleep. It doesn't matter. Or if I sleep 2 hours, take a 2-hour nap every day, it's not going to negatively impact my business because the business doesn't need me. Does that make sense? Like I do, like Doreen will tell you, I gotta take 2-hour naps just about every day. That's what I like. You know, around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I'm gone for like 2 hours. And I come back and I do webinars, right? If I got webinars at night, like I'll definitely take a 2-hour nap before the webinar because it recharges me, makes me a better person before I face each one of you. Right? I'm coming at you with a fresh mind instead of the guy who just made all these decisions for businesses and, you know, was a little stressed or worn down. Who here knows hyper focus comes from having a hyper goal, a hyper valuable goal. What about passive income? What about a $10,000 a month passive income as a goal? What about making the net worth of $1 million as the goal? What about, you know, for the rest of us who have already hit those goals, what about that $10 million or that $100 million, right? Set that as the goal. And then just work towards it for fun. Not because you have to, not because you need the money, but because it's fucking fun to build stuff that other people get to use. It's really fun to build things that are impacting other people's lives positively. And occasionally take a break to enjoy what you've done, spending some time in peaceful meditation, which I get asked a lot. What am I doing tonight, right? Who's got a plan for New Year's Eve? New Year's? Everybody's got plans. We got things we're doing, right? I get asked a lot. What am I doing for New Year's Eve? I'm going to spend time with my favorite person, right? Doreena's in Russia, so I don't get to spend time with my second favorite person, but I'll spend time with me today, writing my goals for each one of you. Like that's my intention. Tonight, I'll be spending time just thinking about blessing myself and being thankful for the opportunity to serve this community at the level that we're serving and setting the goal of, 10,000 people through work with investors, setting the goal of having all of these people actually understand, comprehend, and use and leverage the tools that we give them so that they can go out and build millionaires. I'm setting the goal for each one of you who's committed to becoming a millionaire in 2023 to become that millionaire. That's my night. Like, if you think you're having fun, I'm having 10 times more fun because that's how I'm spending the night. I'm thinking about how you're going to be successful, how we're moving you forward, how all my plans for you and for this community are growing and moving without me. Hence, Karen, if you understand, that's a blissful experience, right? I will not be drinking alcohol, right? I will not be partying with my friends. I did that for years. I did the Vegas trip to Vegas, did New Year's in Vegas. I've done New Year's where I can't remember New Year's. I've done New Year's where I do get to remember it sometimes. And what I found is this is how I like to go into the new year, with my eyes wide open, looking at where I'm going, hyper focused on who I'm serving and how like their success is guaranteed. Hence, Karen, if you can do something very similar this year, even if you got to go spend time with family, even if you got to go out with your friends, even if you got to do some sort of experience, tomorrow is another day. Or right after this call ends, you can spend 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes just visualizing yourself as successful and just not asking how or who, just focused on what it feels like, what it looks like, what it feels like, vibrating at that high state. My goal for 2023 is just vibrate at a higher state of energy. That's it. My only goal for 2023 is just vibrate constantly at a higher state of energy so that when I do communicate with you, when I communicate with other people, vibration's high and I'm putting out the right energy. That's it. That one goal impacts every single one of us at a higher level. Hence, if you recognize that's high leverage, hyper focus, high leverage. Now, I already got the business structures in place. So I figure if I'm the person who motivates and inspires, then all I got to do is vibrate at a higher level with the people that I'm around, because my team's smarter than me. My property managers are smarter than me. My business partners are smarter than me. Or my lenders are smarter than me. my investors, my contractors, they all know their things better than I know it. So then my thing is just to high five them and ask them what they think is right. Right? Send out that positive energy. Hence, Karen, if you can vibrate at higher energy this year, if you can be more positive this year, if you can focus on things that are going to move you forward instead of things that are taking you to the past, I like it. So every week, I got my special friend, Mike Shine, who brings us something very good for our mindsets. I know I just talked smack about reading books. Let me say that again. We read a book a week, every week, because the information gets applied, right? We are applicable learners. We take the information, we apply the information. I'm addicted to doing things, right? I'm addicted to reading and taking action, right? Hans Karen, if you also agree, you're an action taker. So we read the book, I read the book faster than I apply the action, right? I spend more time on action than I do on reading that book. Can't scam for cents, an asset, right? All right. So Mike Shine, if you could, Mike is our closing attorney. He's the holistic attorney, and he's also the keeper of the books. Mike Shine, you're up. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Woohoo! 2022, last book, last day of the year. So Walter was just talking about 52 books and how many books we read and all this stuff. And I'm not trying to dissuade you from that, but I am telling you that if you took the book, The One Thing, and just kept it as your Bible, this book would transform your life, just this book alone. And the first thing I want to say about it is that it's written by Gary Keller. And so, you know how they tell you to don't take advice on making money from your broke friends, because they're broke friends, right? Take money from somebody who did it. So Gary Keller that name sound familiar? It should be, because it's Keller Williams, the largest real estate company, I think, in the world, at least the United States, whatever.
Oh yeah, he's the biggest in the world.
Yep. And I just looked up his net worth. He's at $200 million. So probably good to take advice from someone who has a net worth of $200 million, not your broke friends, once again. And a lot of us have read this, and Walter absolutely lives by this thing. The main phrase that comes from this book is, what is the one thing that I can do today such that all other things are easier or not necessary at all? I'm kind of garbling that, but you got the idea. And if you take that mindset, that's amazing. So it really does focus you, hyper-focus, like Walter was saying. But one of the things that I wanted to point out, just because I think it's really, really cool, is that on one of the pages, it talks about extreme Pareto. And it just sounds cool to say extreme Pareto. And so if you don't know, the Pareto principle is that 80% of your success comes from 20% of your efforts. And this comes from a guy in Italy that was like growing peas, and he realized that 80% of his peas that he was growing came from 20% of the vines. And then it's been proven in all sorts of other things. So for all of us, 80% of your success is going to come from 20% of your customers. But what's really cool about this book is that Gary Keller knocked that down, and he said, well, wait a second. If 80% comes from 20% of your efforts, what about once you get to that 20%? And then he knocked it down more and more, because he said his employees were not doing this because they were given like 4 projects. And he said, focus, hyper focus, just like Walter's telling you today. And he got down to the one thing. So he just said to his employees, just do one thing, just do it well. And that is hyper Pareto principle. So all you're doing is you're taking 20% of the 20% of the 20% of your efforts till you get down to one thing, and the one thing makes you crush it. It's just, this book is amazing. Like I said, you could just read this book for 52 weeks and you would absolutely crush life. If you're not crushing it already, I feel like we already are anyway. But yeah, amazing book. I love it. Gary Keller has a really nice way of speaking, so it's easy to understand, digest, and yeah, the one thing. Thank you.
Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. He's the holistic attorney, the closer, and the keeper of the books. I gotta say it because Mike Shine garbled it up. What is the one thing such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? You can ask this every minute. You can ask this every hour. You can ask this every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year, every 5 years. This phrase works all the time. I ask it about my wife. I'm like, hey, what is the one thing such that by doing it, I can make Doreena's day better, right? And easier, or like take out other things that I might have to do. Sometimes it's the trash, but usually not. Usually in Doreena's situation, it's a compliment. Just acknowledge something she's done and I'm good for the day. And scam free recognize there's always a one thing. I don't care what your life scenario is. There's one thing that'll get you to a better place. Always one thing, always one thing, always one thing. And the other point he made in that book was he's all about hyper focus. My God, I love this book and this principle, because hyperfocus is the secret to everything I have attained in life. I've said it since I was very young. I'm an addictive personality. I see something, I want it in the craziest way. I get into something a little bit, and before you know, I'm in it all the way. And my brother used to tell me I'm extremely dangerous because he's like, when I got divorced, he was very nervous for me. He's like, oh my God, like, you get divorced. Like if you start drinking alcohol, it's game over. Instead, I went to the gym. I went to the gym for 6 hours a day, every day, because that's what I do when I get obsessed with something. Hence, Karen, if you recognize you might have a little addiction ability in you too, a little obsessiveness. What's slowed most people down to this point is the distractions, is the uncertainty around who you are and where you're going. That uncertainty is the devil. If there is a devil, if there is, a negative out there, it is the uncertainty that you allow to be in your life. And when you take it out of your life and instill with it certainty, it allows hyperfocus to be there. You're already naturally a hyper-focused being because you're a human being who here has seen kids get absolutely obsessed over a candy bar or a toy or not going to sleep, right? Like they just get obsessed with being awake. Like whatever their thing is, when they're like, we had it since we were children. You can't remove it from us. It's who we are. Go ahead, Mike.
I just had a thought. I put in the chat the YouTube by Earl Nightingale.
Yep.
And some people might be listening to this whole thing saying, focus on the one thing. And it actually, by focusing on the one thing, also does something else. Because there may be people who are not out there who are not focusing on anything. So to have, oh shit, I'm supposed to be focusing. That's the whole Earl Nightingale thing. He says, write on a card what your goal is, and it just gets you to focus. It's so if you're one of those people out there that just kind of wakes up in the morning like a pinball and just gets knocked around by life, Earl Nightingale's video and the one thing will get you to focus so that you run your life instead of life running you. And I was that before I met Walter. I swear to God, that was me for like 30, 40 years. Just wake up and whose email do I have to respond to and whose emergency or fire do I have to put out? And when you live intentionally by picking up what your one thing is, it'll transform your life. So, yeah.
Give Mike Shine a round of applause. It's very true. And Darina reminded me I've got something to give away. Who likes free things? All right. So I'm going to give away something that's technically I'm going to show you a way to get it for free. All right. So Names on Deeds. Who knows that's coming up the 14th, January 14th? Names on Deeds. I'll be teaching. I can't wait. I'm super excited about it because this is how you buy small multifamilies in any market, anytime, with no money down, with how to manage them, how to evaluate the properties. Fancy care, if you know it's a skill you need to sharpen up anyway, right? It's something you just always want to improve no matter what. I wrote the book. I wrote the workbook. You're going to get the workbook for free. Oh, I can give you the workbook for free right now. You go to Alchemist Nation, go to buy real estate, cash flow, and get rich. And inside that course, I've put Names on Deeds for free. So you can get the online digital course for free today. Hence, Karen, if that's cool, that's valuable, that's nice, but it's going to get better. There's more. So Names on Deeds is January 14th. It's a 4-hour workshop. I'm going to be answering a lot of questions at the end, but I got Vinny. I pulled Vinny. Vinny was like, hey, how's everything going? I was like, Vinny, can you come in and talk a little bit about multifamily syndication during the multifamily syndication part of multifamily Names on Deeds? And I just asked really quickly, and he was like, sure. What time do you want me there? So let's give Vinny a big round of applause. He'll be there for Names on Deeds. So he will come in. Vinny's a billionaire. He's going to show us how to syndicate, because every other time I've taught Names on Deeds, I was theorizing syndication. Who here knows you want to learn from somebody who actually does it, right? Yeah. I've only ever raised a fund. Vinny has raised 42 syndications. So it's a very very large pool of experience he's going to bring it to the table. So Names on Deeds is, I think the website is live now, right? Ron, can everybody go to Names on Deeds? Don't buy anything, by the way. I got a deal for you. But Names on Deeds, when you go to the website, don't buy it. But when you go there, it's $97. It's valued at some ridiculous astronomical number because I'm valuable, my time's valuable, but more importantly, you're valuable, and I want you to pay attention. We're going to do the recession-proof challenge January 2nd. Who here's already registered? Already signed up, already registered. My mastery students know they're going back through it again. Awesome. Everybody in mastery. Let me tell you two things. One, I also wrote my card down. So I got my goal, like Mike Shine suggested. My goal says 100 community leaders committed to building 10,000 millionaires, because I had to level my goal up, right? So 100 community leaders committed to building 100 millionaires each. Chance Cam, if you want to be in one of those communities, you like to be around one of those people who's building millionaires, right? Dedicated, call it. Hence, if you'd like to be one of those leaders, even if you're not a millionaire, you'd like to be one of those leaders who's building millionaires. Absolutely. So the recession-proof challenge is how I build those leaders. It's, by the way, who knows you build millionaires, you're going to be a millionaire. It's shit, just by the math, right? You're the average of your 5 closest friends. So what happens if 100 people owe you a favor, right? You build 100 millionaires, you're going to be okay. I feel like you'll be more than a millionaire. So the recession-proof challenge is 21 days, which teaches you how to be recession-proof. It also teaches you seven streams of income that you can earn while being recession-proof, getting your marketing to pay for you to have your real estate investment business. Who would like your marketing to pay for a real estate investment business? Be okay with that? Excellent. Yeah, so that's what we're teaching in the recession-proof challenge. Now, the recession-proof challenge should be free. I mean, I would love it to be free if I wasn't involved. But unfortunately, I show up every single day one-on-one with you, well, one-on group with you in the recession-proof challenge every day at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for 21 days straight. Hence, can you recognize that's a lot of my time? That's 21 hours I put in every month to do this challenge with the community members that are in that challenge. There's been over 220 members through the challenge already, many of which come back every month to tackle it again. So let's give our repeat offenders a big round of applause. You know who you are. So the challenge this year is designed at one thing. It is truly designed to not just build you into a millionaire, but help you build other millionaires. The mastery program was even more intense. That's why we threw the recession-proof challenge in the mastery program. We're like, you got to do this one anyway, because everything we're doing for you in mastery, you understand in the challenge. You understand why it makes sense to have all these things done for you. But this 21 days is going to be the most intense 21 days of the year. I assure you, I will push you hard. Now, it won't be a lot of work, but it'll be the right work. Who here wants to do right work versus a lot of work? Absolutely. So here's my other thing. $97 is what I'm going to give you for the recession-proof challenge. And I'm going to throw in names on deeds for free. Is that valuable? Names on deeds for free workshop. Learn how to buy all the real estate, multifamily real estate, evaluate the deals. I got Vinny coming in and teach you syndication. It's going to be a ridiculous, unstoppable amount of value. After this, you can never say I never gave you anything. So one, give me a round of applause. Give my team a round of applause for putting this together. This was Darina's idea to make sure that everybody got access to names on deeds this year. At Names on Deeds, I will not be selling anything. I want to be very clear. The only thing I'll be talking about is how to buy real estate, multifamily style, and survive this recession. And not survive, fuck that word, fuck survival. How to explode, how to thrive, because recessions build more millionaires than any other time in history. In 2008, I made a commitment. I said, when this happens again, I am going to explode. And I want to take as many people with me. That's the commitment I'm making in 2023. I want to take as many people, I want as many of us to explode as we possibly can. Because my one thing that I fucked up in 2008 was I didn't know anybody. I didn't have mentors. I didn't have money. I didn't have realtors. I didn't have wholesalers. I didn't have access to deals. I didn't have contractors. I didn't have a network. I had no way to buy all the real estate. There was deals everywhere. Who remembers 2008? Deals everywhere. I was looking. I know because I bought my first house in 08 and I was looking around. I couldn't buy another one. And I was just like, so frustrated, so mad. I kept thinking, what the fuck is wrong with me? And you know what that does mindset-wise? Discovers a bunch of things wrong with me. Now, after what's been 14 years of investing in real estate, I know how to play the game. I know what's right about the business. I know how to not survive. I know how to thrive in a down economy. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be at this point. Hence, if you're excited to be here, this is the greatest time in history. This is where millionaires are made. There'll be more millionaires made in 2023, 4, 5, and 6 than there has ever been in the history of years of this country and any other country. So give yourselves a round of applause for showing up at the right time. Sometimes It does take luck. Being born at the right time means that you showed up at this time in history. And now we've got the plan to make it work. This is not a sexy plan. This is the plan I showed you. The same exact plan that Pete didn't follow, Bob didn't follow. This is the plan that Max followed to maximize his lifestyle, maximize his portfolio. The only difference is we're buying at the right time. We're buying in a time where seller financing and subject to existing mortgages are back because interest rates are so high. Our negotiation strategies work better than they have since the 80s. It's been 40 years since this has worked, since interest rates have been at this level. Hence, can't you understand? This is a perfect fucking storm. This is like a real estate investor's just gift that has been given to us. The Fed's not going to raise rates much over the next year. Like 2023, they're saying they're just going to hold. They're probably going to drop rates in 24. So the opportunity becomes even better as the year continues to go on. There's a lot of things happening. I want you prepared for them. The Recession Proof Challenge is not going to be specific real estate knowledge. It is going to be community building knowledge, because without a community, you can't do shit. Without a group of people, you can't buy real estate other than whatever the pathetic amount of money you've got saved in your pathetic bank account. Hence, if you understand what I'm talking about, your bank account is a limited resource. That can't be the only way that you try to build wealth. You must go to the bank account of the universe, right? The bank account of the universe is much bigger. It's much more infinite. They just print it, right? They just threw out $2 trillion, $3 trillion for us, right? We go to the bank account of the universe, we have much more access. That means you must have a network. You must have other human beings that you can work with. So yeah, don't go to namesondeeds.com and buy that. What you want to do is go to challenge.alchemistnation.com and buy that. Because when you go to challenge.alchemistnation.com, you're going to get Names on Deeds for free. So give yourselves a round of applause for being really smart, and for me for being really nice. And Ron and Mark and Feli and Michelle and Darina and Amy and Jem and really amazing team Diana. Let's give all our team a big round of applause. They're fucking fantastic. Like a dozen people out there making me look smart. And here's the link for you. 21-day Recession Proof Challenge. It starts January 2nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, I'm not selling anything. I'm just creating an opportunity. If you decide you want to be a leader and build 100 millionaires with us, this is how you do it. $97. Like, tell me you don't like that I'm bald. Tell me you don't like Andrew Tate, but don't tell me you don't got $97 to make 100 millionaires over the next 4 or 5 years together. Give yourselves a round of applause for listening to a sale. I love it. That's challenge.alchemistnation.com. If you are ready to make a change, ready to commit, ready to be the boring investor, the boring business owner who just does one business for 4 years, then you're ready to be a millionaire. Drop yes in the chat if you know you're committed, and share this out with somebody who needs to get their shit together this year. A friend or family member who's been all over the place, an entrepreneur who's been back and forth, up and down, sideways, doing this thing, doing this thing, doing this thing. I'm tired of the flip-floppers. Let's get them focused. If it's a realtor who's also a lender, who's also selling protein shakes, and they're selling Amway and doing all this other stuff, they need some help. They need to get hyper-focused. These people are in trouble, and if they've told you at some point they want to be successful and you don't pass this video along, my guess is that you don't actually like them, which is okay. If you don't like them, you don't have to connect with them. Hence, if you understand, you don't have to talk to anybody you don't like. Unless you want to get rich. Then in which case, sometimes you got to talk to people you don't like, as long as they're people you respect, as long as they're people that you believe do things morally, ethically, and legally, that are good people to learn from. There's a lot of people that I don't like being around that I've learned quite a bit from. And then at some point, I started liking them, because I realized it was more about me and my insecurities than it was about them and who they were and what they were doing. So, yeah, I think that's really good. It's a new year.
I want to come back to something that you said that was kind
Hold
of.
on, we're gonna shift over to the to that part. I just want to one more time say cheers to your success. We have a choice. I always work with the best. And Stephen Beamer, let's open up the questions. Good start, man. Or shares questions.
Yeah, so you had said that you need to write down your goals, and the stats say that if you do a business plan, any business plan, a one-word business plan, that you increase your profits by about 30%. Only, though, you have to work at it. You look at that every day. Look at your business plan every day. And you throw it away after that, but look at it every day. You'll increase by on average around 30%. That means some people did more, some people did less, but just by writing your goals down for your business, right? It's crazy, but true.
Let's give Stephen Bieber a round of applause, because I'm about to show you my business plan and how true that is.
Wait, so I put in the
There it is.
chat, Earl Nightingale 30-minute YouTube video, and part of that is a 30-day challenge to just write on a index card what your goal is, and then he's got some biblical things on the back of it. and I carry my card. It's falling apart because I carry it every day. So it works, and it's Earl Nightingale is the OG. So watch that video.
That tying that in what Stephen just said about a one-word business plan or a small business plan, that's your business plan. Like it's the same concept. Your business plan is what you put into your wallet. It's what you carry around with you all the time. It's what you look at all the time. For me, this is my business plan. It's on my desk at all times. I look at it every day. I can see it no matter where I go. This is my business plan, right? I put name. How do I build millionaires? I put names on deeds. This is page 2 of the business plan. Hands can, if that makes sense. Very simple, right? Alchemist Nation, you go there. What does it say? As soon as you get there, build 100 millionaires, right? Build 100 millionaires, build 100 millionaires. It's all over the platform. My business plan is very clear. It's very simple. It's where I can see it at all times. So I'm always focused on what I'm doing, because if I wasn't clear, if I wasn't focused, I wouldn't be successful. I won't be able to create the results that we create. So let's give these guys one more round of applause. That's a great share. Whatever you want, you must write it down and look at it consistently. And when you look at it, feel great. Feel that it's possible. Believe it's possible. Had a conversation with my dad for Christmas. We were doing the cell phone Christmas, and my dad said to me, he's like, yeah, there's a lot of great things in the Bible. And I said, yeah, there is absolutely great things in the Bible. One of the things that I really like about the Bible is that they're always talking about belief and faith. Belief and faith. If you want to create, manifest, you can have belief and faith. And what I like is that you can have just about anything if you believe in faith. And he's like, and I was like, Dad, you really have like anything? And he's like, well, what about if I want to fly by flapping my wings? I was like, well, this is where human beings go wrong. They're concerned about how they fly. We human beings do fly. We do indeed. We figured it out. But we don't do it by flapping our arms. We do it by getting machines with large enough aerodynamic structures that can lift. And we figured out flying, right? Josh is in the Air Force, right? Josh, Air Force or Army? You're Army, right? There we go. So a lot of my buddies are in the Air Force, and they, like Ron used to be Air Force. No, is Air Force, used to be Navy. Got it. Let's give our veterans a big round of applause for putting up my shit. Thank you for all the work you guys do. This idea of belief, faith, it's not blind belief, it's not blind faith. It's just acceptance that you're a pretty damn impressive person who's done impressive things, and you're going to go do another impressive thing. That's all it is. It's just assumption that you're going to show up tomorrow, right? The math is simple. Like I find so much peace in the math. Right? You sell a $1 item 1,000,000 times, you make $1 million, right? You sell a $10 item for 100,000 times, you make $1 million. You sell a $100 item, 10,000 times, you make $1 million. You sell a $1,000 item 1,000 times, you make $1 million. You sell 10,000 products to 100 people, you make $1 million. I just can't if you understand this math. Simple. You sell a $100,000 product to 10 people, you make $1 million. That's the one I subscribe to. Right? I got a coaching program that charges $100,000, and I tell everybody, don't buy it. And yet I've got people who say, I can't wait to buy it. And it's like, man, like, imagine if I didn't tell them that imagine if I didn't put myself to a point where I'm unavailable and say, look, that's the price. Because I don't really want to do one-on-one coaching unless, like, you got to compel me, right? 100,000, I'll get off my butt to do it. But anything less than that, I can't. I have a hard time with the motivation. It's just not there, right? Like, I got other things that I want to do. So this idea of the money is there. You can find it if you start accepting it, if you start putting it out there and believing and having that faith. Do the math and then pick whichever one feels good to you. 100,000. I like that one, right? I'm starting to talk to Mike. I'm thinking about the $1 million one. How do you, like, what's the play to make $1 million 10 times to make the $10 million, right? I do believe that's selling real estate. It really, we're selling one of our portfolios and a profit on it is $2.7 million. So it's like, okay, just do that a couple times. Hence, if you could acquire a portfolio and then improve it a little bit, position it, sell it 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, and make $2.5 million, half to your investors, the other half to you, or 70% to your investors, still $1 million goes back to you, 30% back to you. This is a syndication model, right? And if you're recognizing that this works, right? If you focus on one thing and you believe it's possible and you stick to it and you don't get distracted and you focus on one thing, every one of those just means fucking focus. 4 years of focus. Committed?
That's so funny. I didn't say that word, but that's the reason why the business plan works, is because it gets you back on the focus of what you're doing right. I think I've told this story before, but Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and Bill Gates Sr. were all at a little diner, and some guy came up to him and said, "Hey, I really apologize, but I just got to ask you, if you don't mind, what is your key to your success?" And all three of them said, "Focus."
Yeah.
Done. Thanks for playing.
And who remembers the story I told earlier? Focus is the secret, but if you focus on the wrong thing, you end up in the wrong place. Focus is the human being's superpower. It is what makes AI faster than us at solving problems, because it can be hyper-focused on one particular thing. It's what makes Deep Blue harder to, nobody can beat the AI computer, right, in chess, because it's singular focus. You take it and ask it to go put makeup on your daughter, it's done. Game over, can't do it, right? Game over, right? Hence, if you're catching this, singular focus, being super good at one particular thing, means your life is going to have an outcome, one way or the other. If you're really good at your 9-to-5 job, guess what? You're going to have a 9-to-5 job for the rest of your life. Cool, right? That's a lot of people's solution. That's the choice they made. And it works until the economy changes and your job is no longer required because AI, robotics, or outsourcing have completely replaced your job and it no longer exists. Creative jobs like graphic design artists and basically anything creative is gone. We pay like $4 an hour for this sort of work. Hence, Karen, if you know, that's the lowest paying tasks with my company. I still pay a little bit more for people who can have sales conversations. I pay the most for my salespeople who actually close deals or commissions. Like Dorina is making like a $90,000 commission check when she closes the portfolio. Hence, Karen, if you'd like that kind of commission, stop doing small deals. That's a $4.5 million deal. She's getting 2%, 90 grand, right? From the same amount of effort I have put into selling 3 families, 10 units, doesn't matter. It's the same effort. Go ahead, Mike. This rant is over, by the way. After this
This is
Q&A.
it's just another statement for why you're in the right room. Because when I started coming and hanging out with Walter, I was an attorney making 72 grand a year. And I just keep coming. I come on Saturdays, whenever Walter has something, I just keep coming. It's like a singular focus, always talking about Alchemist Nation. And I don't know, I know I've easily more than 10x, became a millionaire because of it. Opportunities just keep coming. I'm a multi-millionaire because of it. So you're in the right room and just keep showing up and keep focusing on this. And Walter basically spoon feeds you exactly what you need. And if you don't resist, that's the thing I'm learning recently. Everything is there for you. We just resist it. We make up excuses or we find a reason why it can't happen. And if you just let it happen, you'll be there. I mean, that's why when Walter said it takes 3 to 5 years to make a millionaire, it took me 2 years. It was just hanging out here for 2 years, and it's 20, 30x. 30x my income and net worth, all from this. So singular focus, Alchemist Nation.
Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause.
Give Walter Amarello a round of applause.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
Woo!
Mitch, rap quote.
I mean, that's a possibility.
I'm
What-
before you go for the easy one, I'm taking got my money on my mind. My mind on my money, my money on my mind. Hyper focused.
I mean, that is one thing to focus on. I mean, that actually plays along with what I was going to go with. You went old school with Snoop, which is usually, you know, more so my play, but I'll take it more current day with Drake. And this one actually came to mind because I thought about, you know, back when I used to day trade, and the biggest problem was, you know, not focusing on one thing. Like you try one strategy and you might have a few losing days in a row and you're like, oh, this doesn't work. And you switch to another, you just flip flop and spinning your wheels, right? When you might have had a strategy that had an edge, but it's not going to make money every day, right? But over the course of time, it's going to, right? You just got to stick with it. So, you know, with that said, Drake's got a lyric where he said, I guess you lose some and win some as long as the outcome is income. And that's what you got to stay focused on, right? Focus on that one thing, right? You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but as long as that outcome is income in the end. And I think that holds true if you just take something that works, whether it be flipping, whether it be, you know, rentals, whether it's, so we've all done it. Anyone new to real estate investing, it's like you jump in, you want to do all the things. You know, I wasted my first year trying to, you know, be all the things, and guess how many deals I did in year one? 0, right? So then, you know, going into year 2, bought my first rental property, realized like that's what suits my personality. I'm ambitiously lazy. I want to just build, you know, passive income, build wealth. I'm not trying to do that grind, dialing phones and, you know, running around flipping properties. So figure out the one thing that you want to focus on, and the one thing that, as Mike said earlier, you know, you enjoy doing and juices you up, because that's what you're going to stay with. Anything else is just a fun idea and you're going to burn out because it's just, you know, not what you're feeling. So that's, as Doug would say, what I have to say about that.
Let's give Mitch Chorsky a round of applause. It's a fantastic share. Who's catching this? Who's like, really, this is really resonating. Like, it's like, wow, this is good. Awesome. Let's get some shares from the room.
Walter, real
Hey,
quick.
I just want to,
Mike,
go,
hold
go.
on. There's a couple
Yeah.
Q&As that I wanted to touch on. Walter, someone asked how to sign up for the recession proof on January 2nd. So I guess since Doreena's not here, someone's got to drop the link.
Truth. That is
Yes.
challenge.
So hurry up and do it before I drop my referral link.
Nice.
Only reason why I
Also,
wouldn't do it.
inquiring minds want to know, Alan Knowles mentioned that elephant on the wall is new, and if it has any significance.
Yeah, so that elephant has been on my wall in other parts of my house for years. I love the elephant. It's my spirit animal. There's a reason. There's 4 animals that people typically choose. I was in college, like, by the way, the 1 year I went to college, I was in college in a business management class, and the woman gave us this exercise. You can do it along with me. There's 4 animals, and one animal is what you believe you are, and then the other animal is what you believe the world sees you as, how you're perceived. So of the 4 animals, the options were a lion, a dog, a parrot, or an elephant. A lion, a dog, a parrot, or an elephant. And obviously dogs are friendly, sociable creatures, loyal. The elephant is a strong, powerful animal, wise. The lion is aggressive, powerful, strongest animal in the wilderness. You know, a lot of people associate success with the lion. And then the parrot is beautiful, loud, and can fly. Has the freedom. So they're supposed to mean something, right? So let's do it right now. We'll do it together as a team. We'll just do this really quickly. Write down or share in the chat. What do you believe would be your animal? Of those 4 choices, what animal do you like the most? And I see it in the chat. We got lions, we got elephants, we're obviously a bunch of alchemists, we got a bunch of lions in the room, right? So we got lions,
All right.
elephants. So we've got people who can associate with these animals. And so she went through the room and told everybody what they were. And I was like, oh, I'm an elephant, I'm just elephant. And I believe the world sees me as a parrot because, freedom, the world sees me as, out there having fun. But truthfully, I see myself as a very stable, wise animal. And she asked me, she was very concerned. Everybody left and she was concerned. She pulled me aside at the end of the class. And she was like, I'm just wondering, when you said the elephant, like, why do you think the elephant? And I was like, yeah, they're wise. Nobody fucks with an elephant, right? They're big, they're strong. Like, they move in herds, not big herds, but they move in a pack. So it's a tight pack that moves. And like, if a tree gets in the way, the tree's no longer there anymore. And and like, there's no predator that can take them down other than humans, right? Like, outside of the apex predator of the planet, there's nothing else that can take them down. But they're peaceful, right? They're calm, like they keep to themselves, but nobody fucks with an elephant. Basically, that was my mindset for like the last decade. It was like, I love these animals because their power alone gives them peace, gives them space, right? Just their existence, their strength means that life is peaceful to them. They can come and go wherever they please. They're not as crazy as a parrot out there, but I think parrots are fragile, right? Whereas the elephant, it's a family. It can move. It's a tribe that moves, right? But I just fucking love elephants. And then I found out that elephants also are a sign of abundance. So obviously, got my trunk up elephant over here. Vinny Chopra's got an elephant on his desk. I pulled my elephant out. I put it back in camera. But this elephant's been around for a long time because it's just it reminds me that stability is what we're always going for. Building slowly, building solidly, moving to where things make more sense. Being wise, listening to people, paying attention to what people are doing, not what they're saying. All those really important things to success. So thank you, Alan, and thank you, Mitch, for reading that one. Go ahead, Mike.
I just when we were talking about hyper focus, it is the beginning of the year. And everybody knows the story about everybody's at the gym and the parking lot at the gym is packed on January 3rd. But by January 17th, nobody, 2 weeks later, nobody's at the gym. But I wanted to point out that if you go through this year, like we were talking about the 12-week year and goals and things like that, be aware of shiny object syndrome. So what'll happen is you say, yeah, I'm hyper focused. I'm going to do wholesaling, or I'm going to do buy and hold, or whatever I'm going to do. And then it starts to get a little bit challenging. And you say, oops, I'm going here, shiny object, I'm going there. And you lose your focus. And that may happen in March. Sometimes it happens in June, but if you're aware of it, it won't happen and you'll stay the course. So shiny object syndrome is real.
It's a devil. If there is a devil, it's the devil. Yeah, I got to share. Agent Alchemist started. By the way, our birthday is this week. It was last week. Like, Alchemist Nation was 4 years ago in 2018. Ron and I originally started as Agent Alchemist. I came back from Vegas with from a session with my mentor, my coach, and he was like, "You got to build, a community and a tribe to teach people how to invest in real estate. It's like the ethical thing to do." So we came back and we started working with agents. Within a year, we had a CRM built. We were selling leads. We've been doing this for a very long time before we got to the point where we're able to actually go national and build like really cool websites, own our own CRM software. Like, it took us a long time to get to this space, to have all these coaches who are smarter than me, better than me, more talented in what their specialized component is. It didn't happen overnight. We're in year 4 of it. And we're going to continue. Ron and I have already set out the next 2 years. We already know what we're doing the next 2 years for Alchemist Nation. There's nothing for us to think about. We're just doing. We're just showing up and we're just doing. Is it boring? Yes, absolutely. It is boring as shit. Like, doing the same thing every day, the right things to make sure the right things are going through. I don't have to put a lot of work in. He doesn't have to put a lot of work in. But I've gotten in shape. I feel way better about my body. I see the success in the community. So it's okay to be a little bored doing the same thing over and over every year. I'm teaching the same webinars I've been teaching for years. I'm still teaching working with investors. I'm still showing agents how to work with investors. I'm teaching this for 4 years. I'm still teaching Be the Bank. I'm still teaching names on deeds. I'm still teaching Get the Deal. I'm still teaching Get the Money. Right? Like, not much has changed. I'm still teaching Buy Real Estate to Cash Flow to Get Rich, right? Hands camera, if you understand, like, I'm teaching the same things I've been teaching, which as a creative is hard. I want to teach something new. I want to go and teach, that next thing, but I know what works. Well, I know the information is still required. I'm still teaching the 52 weeks of wealth. Same 52 weeks I've been teaching for the last 3 years. Who sees it? They gotten better though. Just like everything we just talked about on hyper focus, these wealth principles are more tight. I've got PowerPoints. I never had PowerPoints before. I keep the principle tighter, more focused. I've never did that before. And the Q&A sessions are better because we got you here. It took 3 years to get you. All right. It took 3 years for you to show up in this way, the way you are. You had to go through the other years in order to become this. Right? Like, I could not have gotten you the way you are today 3 years ago. You just weren't there. You didn't exist. Does that make sense? So give yourselves a round of applause. I'm very thankful to be spending the last day of the year with each one of you, our tribe, our community, Alchemist Nation, right? A community of alchemists, people who have transformed themselves so they can transform others, taking themselves out of a place of pain, struggle, and themselves into a place of bliss and abundance and joy so they can do the same for others. I could not have guessed that the community would be this cool. When we started, I could not have guessed that it would be this much work to get here and that it would be this easy to get here. And I certainly didn't expect it to be this much fun. I had no clue that we could have this much impact, make this much money, and have this much fun along the way. So I just want to say a special happy birthday to everybody in Alchemist Nation, and big thanks to all my partners and to everybody in this community who is taking up the flag to go and build millionaires themselves. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I'm thankful for your commitment to yourself, to this community, and to the dedication to building 100 millionaires. For everybody who's in the challenge, I'll see you January 2nd. Be there or be square. Starts at 1 p.m. And if you can't find the link, go to alchemiststation.com, type in Recession Proof Challenge. It's right there. Or you can go to challenge.alchemiststation.com. And I will see you there. And screw it. If you can't find the link and you don't know how to find it, go to namesondeeds.com. Anybody who buys names on deeds in the next 7 days, I know what you tried to do. I'm just going to throw you into the challenge. Sounds good? Fair? All right. God bless you. I love you. I'll say if Doug's not here right now, we love you for who you are, and we love you for who you are not. Cheers to your success. When you have a choice, always work with the best. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Got my business plan right here. Let's go.